Hi flower friends, it's Nicole from Flower Hill Farm, and for a long time now you guys have been asking me to kind of do a full farm tour. I decided the best thing to do in order to get a full tour of the farm and to show you the layout of where things actually are is to do it with a bird's eye view. So that's what I'm doing today, is showing you guys an aerial tour of the farm so you can get a better idea of where things are and how much space we're using and how much space we have left to use. And at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you some of our plans for next year. So some farm expansion is on the way. But first, it's beautiful outside. It's fall, it's late September. It's beautiful. The leaves are changing colors and it really is. Upstate New York is a gorgeous place to be in the fall, and I love every season. I've said this multiple times. I look forward to every season beginning and every season ending, but fall, yeah. I have a special place in my heart for fall, but I will say that about winter, and I will say that about spring, and I will say that about summer, so I'm really bad. I love all seasons. If you're new here, we have about 20 acres, and I would say a few of them are in production. I have a cut flower farm, and this is the end of my third year in business, so spring 2022 will be year number 4. We have a wildflower field, and that is in the corner over here before you enter the wooded section of our property. So if you pull away from that and you kind of go through, there's a little swampy section. You can kind of see where there's a difference in the landscape. It's kind of darker in the tall grass. It's where we do not mow. So then off to the side, we planted brand new this year, a lavender field, and you can see it there with all of the rows. We used the DeWitt, I think it's DeWitt fabric. It's basically the Sunbelt fabric. It's a 5-year landscape fabric, and we used that and planted, I think there's 5 rows of lavender, and then all of the Proven Winners plants. Those plants I had delivered in May, right around, I think it was Memorial Day weekend when those plants arrived, and then I planted them over the next couple of months. So that included the lilacs and the berries, the coral berry, the ilex, and what else do I have over there? I can't even remember at this point. So that's where the perennials are. And then if you take a swing over to the left, that's where the new cut flower field went. So we have 14 rows. They're 95 feet long, the longer ones. And then the shorter ones where the dahlia bed is in the front, those are 70-foot long beds. And just a massive amount of production from those this year. It was super awesome. I cannot complain. I probably could have done more, but we'll get to that later on. So up on top of the hill to the right of the house, that is where I have the peony patch. We currently have 465 peonies. We are adding some more this fall. So there's 465 peonies. Some are 2 years old. Some were just planted last fall. So that is going to still take a couple of years to establish. And then beyond the peonies, we have the hydrangea field that was just planted just this summer. So there's 160 limelight hydrangeas, and there's a few dozen of some other varieties. So behind that, which you can't really tell, I have my daffodil patch. We have a couple of thousand daffodils, and they basically are just turned to grass after they die back for the year, and we just mow over the top of it, and then they just return every year. So I will be adding more of those this year as well, actually quite a bit more. And then there's this rectangle that you see, and that's the perennial patch that I put in last year. I don't know how this perennial patch is going to fare over the next few years. I've got hyacinth and irises and alliums, lupines, and what else do I have in there? Oh, some echinacea. I just don't know if it's going to be productive. I honestly kind of ignored it, and it just got filled in with weeds. So I'm not even that concerned about it. Oh, I planted the liatris in there too, and that grew wonderfully. So we'll see what comes back next year. Honestly, I'm not going to be sad if we just have to tear the whole thing up for more production. Obviously, I'm not going to be sad. We did order a high tunnel, and that's going to be going behind where that rectangle is, in between that rectangle and the tree line. So that's where the high tunnel will be going. It's only 16 feet wide by 50 feet long, so there'll be plenty of room for it to go in between those two sections. We'll be putting that up later this fall. So then we have the deer fence. So the deer fence is on the opposite side of the peonies of the driveway. And that was put up last year. That is an 8-foot tall fence. We used cattle panel and 4x4s, and we buried them 2 feet in the ground. We did not use cement or anything. We just put them in, and it seems to be faring well so far. And inside the deer fence is where I have all of my tulips and my lilies and some other things that I had in there this year. What did I do? I did rudbeckia in there. I do all my sunflowers in there in the back. I did phlox, things that the deer tend to like to chew on. So I also did my lisianthus in there, and which is not really because of deer protection, but more because I grew them from seed and I was really like, I'm protecting them at all costs. Speaking of, the 14, I didn't have any deer damage on any flower that I had down there on the 14 rows. Truly, I did not. It was amazing. I think I did have 1 or 2 bites of my amaranth, but they left everything else alone, except for the tomatoes. That was a different story. I feel confident that all of the varieties that I grew outside of the deer fence this year can successfully be grown again without any protection from the deer. So high five on that. So I do have a new area that I will be planting up next spring, and that is the section basically in between the 14 and the wildflower field. So there is quite a large section that Brad currently mows, and I mentioned to him the other day, I said, babe, I want to kind of expand the 14 a little bit, maybe go closer to the main highway. And he said, well, why don't you just make new beds in between? And I just looked at him like, really? Really? Okay, let's do that. So we are going to basically replicate the 14 rows in the middle in that section right here, and that'll be perfect. And it'll be the same types of varieties that are deer resistant. I'm not going to worry about the deer getting a hold of them. I won't be doing the tomatoes in there next year. So I am excited. Expansion, expansion, expansion. This will allow me to increase the number of CSA members that I have, and it will allow me to do the markets that I've been having such a successful year doing those farmers markets. So this will enable me to do all of the things that I want to do. So I'm excited about that.
I'm ready to put the beds to bed. I'm ready to put it to bed. I'm ready to rip everything out, and I'm ready to get ready for next year because I'm physically drained and exhausted doing this all myself this year. It's been, and I don't say all myself because I've had a lot of help from family members and my husband, obviously. But I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm ready to, oh my gosh, see? I'm yawning. I told you I was tired. Anyway, I'm ready to take a break and get all of, there's so much to do to get ready for next season, and I'm ready to start doing those things. There's a lot of stuff on the business end that needs to get done too, you know, like business paperwork, insurance. I've got a lot of new products coming out, so I just want to shift gears and focus from the cutting of the flowers to the business side and the 2022 season, which I'm so amped up for next year, guys. It's unbelievable. I hope you enjoyed the aerial tour of Flower Hill Farm and have a better understanding of how everything is laid out here. And honestly, it's a lot of space and there's still a lot of grass. And I keep saying, Brad, the more I plant, the less you have to mow. But I'm trying to convince him to see it that way. Anyway, thanks guys for sticking around. We'll see you soon. Oh, you may notice that there's something missing in this video, and there's also something new in this video. Bonus points. Oh, look how bright the sun is getting. Pardon me. Bonus points if you can figure out what's missing and what's new. Anyway, I'll be letting you guys in on that little detail. Lila, you can't guess. Lila knows.